Hey everybody, this is Aaron. I am letting you know that this recording that we did was extremely long. When we finished it initially, it was an hour and 10 minutes, and 30 of those minutes were just us recapping what had happened, which isn't really all that interesting, especially if you've seen the movie or if you just want to skip the movie and read a summary on Wikipedia. That is perfectly okay. Or maybe you're not even interested in the movie and what you thought about it, but more about what we thought about it, and that's perfectly okay too. So I wanted to let you know that we're doing something a little different here. I'm just cutting out that whole part where we are recapping the plot lines of the movie and just jumping straight into one of our more divisive commentaries between the two of us, where one of us really liked it, one of us really didn't like it, and I think it's a little bit more interesting to start there than it is to just spend 30 minutes recapping it. So hope you enjoy.
It feels so shallow and stupid. I just don't like it. I just think it's stupid. I just feel like all of the time I spent in the beginning just didn't help me appreciate the end. It sucked. It sucked. That's how I feel about it. I hated it. I hate it. You said you love it.
I love this movie.
I hate it. I think I like Jennifer Lawrence. I think that was a Javier, what's his last name?
Yeah, Javier Bardem. Bardem or whatever.
Yeah, I think he plays a good part. I think the doctor and his wife, and it's a very chaotic. I think the chaotic scenes were really interesting. I think it just almost is like shock value. I don't even know what the theme of the movie is. Like, I feel like you can take away themes pretty quickly. Like, to me, I felt like it was about control, like, because we see it as she's like the audience proxy, like Aaron said, like, she's how we view everything else. So, to me, it just feels like, I don't know, it feels like wasted time. I feel like I don't know what the theme ended up being, if it was about control, like I said, or it was just about like, it was just one of those movies where you just quote enjoy, and I didn't. I just did not enjoy this movie, and especially at the end, I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, like, okay, so this is probably one of the first reviews where we've maybe had some pretty significant differing opinions about the actual movie itself. I think that one thing I'll say is I am not particularly interested in taking somebody who said that they don't like a movie and convincing them that they're wrong or convincing them that they should. I don't find that interesting.
Yeah.
When I watch a movie like this, I walk in extremely blind, and I just kind of try to swim in what they're providing me. And I like, for me in this movie, I wasn't necessarily looking for any particular theme. It wasn't like it wasn't like I'm in this sandbox. I'm like digging around trying to find the hidden treasure, like trying to find, like, looking around and trying to figure it out or whatever. I'm just sort of accepting everything all at once. And to me, this movie is more about how it makes me feel. And it makes me feel dread. It makes me feel like an incredible amount of tension that I think horror movies often have a difficult time of providing. I think this is why movies like Hereditary are very successful at providing an equivalent level of dread, because it is very real. It is about a family that is going through an incredibly disastrous trauma in their life. I think that those movies a lot of times are about the way that they make you feel. Now, this is far more abstract than Hereditary. Hereditary is very much more literal, more linear. But this movie, I think, I really liked seeing this character. I liked seeing the way that they were portraying grief and abuse and cycles of abuse in a way I'd not seen before, like in a way that was interesting to me. Now, of course, like, the things that happened to her are terrible. Like, they take her for everything that she's worth. She's giving to make this, she's trying to make this house a beautiful place for her and her significant other to live, and he's just extracting out of her. It's all about him and his ability to write poetry and his ability, and even when these people show up, he sort of tries to manipulate her and says, this isn't for me. No, I'm doing this because it's actually helping them. It's important that we help these people. I know that this is disappointing to you. This bums you out. This is putting you to the, kind of leaving you in the lurch, but this is important to these people. I think that this movie does a really good job of showing a cycle of abuse in a way that is very unique. It is very divisive. Not everybody's going to like it, and I recognize that. And you're right. Like, there are scenes in this movie that are incredibly disturbing. They're and they're incredibly horrible to see. And I think that this movie, the reason why I like it is because it is trying to do something so different and so abstract, and kind of lets you apply your interpretations to it. Because like you said, like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get explained, like the medication powder that she's taking, the blood on the floorboard. I mean, you can kind of see that as like these sorts of things that are haunting her. But I think there's a lot of like things that if you came back and rewatched this movie, I might have some more things that I'm taking away that I didn't the first time.
Yeah. I think that a lot of it is, like we talked about, how the author is very much in tune with the fans, because the woman isn't a real character. Because the character, he's probably become so, like, it's like such a cliche for him, because it's just, I'm assuming it's a part of his writing, because there's a new female born with every new house cycle when this happens. Which, again, why does the house, what if the woman decides to kill somebody or kill, the author or something? Like, is that permissible in this world? But like, why does the house continue to burn? Because at the very end of the cycle, these female protagonists will always burn the house, right? It happened once in the very beginning with a different female. It happened twice at the very end of this segment of what we're watching. So it's like the cyclical thing. And so, like, I can understand why he doesn't really care about this woman, because she's just another one of his characters, or just another one of the whomevers he can create, right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'll be honest, I don't know that this, like, it's interesting, because I think that your interpretation seems like you sort of are seeing this as, like, a piece of work that he's writing.
I mean, well, like, what else?
I don't see it as that.
Well, how can he possibly survive getting blown up by an oil tank and then coming out unscathed?
I think that.
What does that mean? I'm not saying you're not going to find out the meaning, but
right.
Like,
but I also
it has some sort of, like, you're supposed to interpret it a certain way.
Sure, but that's like saying to the Matrix, well, Neo got shot, so why does he just come back? What kind of world?
But that was explained by the rules of the movie.
Is it explained? It's not really explained.
I mean, he was the one.
Okay, but
that's good enough.
I guess what I'm saying to this, to your argument here, and is I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I don't know how to put this.
This is like this is the kind of discussions I like. I like to be a little bit like kind of like devil's advocate. Like
to me, this is like saying in Star Wars, like, why doesn't Luke just go and stab Darth Vader? Like, it's like, yeah, he could do that.
I mean, but like,
yes.
I mean, but like, there's always reasons behind. But like, my point is, like, I liked, again, I'm gonna think of it like, and I try to find maybe that's my fault. Like, I find the literal in it, but like, what makes this guy so powerful? Is he a super? Well, he can't be a superhero. It's not a superhero movie, is it? Like, he obviously comes out of a movie or this fire unscathed enough to pull out a rock from some chick's heart, and then it's the cyclical aspect of it.
So now that I have time, now that I've had time to kind of sit with this, to me, this is like saying to, if you're reading Aesop's fables and you say to the fox and the grapes, you say, foxes can't talk.
Well,
That's how I feel like.
I
To me, it's
know.
like, it is, for me at least, the wrong thing to argue about is not to me, it's not so much about how is X possible or Y possible. It's that this has happened. Let's talk about just the thing at face value.
Yeah,
That-
I mean, how would you interpret it a different way? Like,
I don't-
or do you don't think it's like really up to interpretation? I think,
I don't think
this has something to do with his writings. Is kind of my argument.
Well, to me, I don't think it has anything to do with interpretation, but like I guess like for me, I'm not getting lost on
Well, I don't say I'm lost.
Rules.
Because the whole movie pissed me off, anyways. So,
when I say lost, I don't mean like confused. I mean like I'm not tripped up by like
Yeah.
what are the rules within
Well, I know.
within this system.
yeah, I mean, but you want some like consistency, and like I want to figure out why it continues to happen, right? There's like, again, we see this cycle. We see that, I mean, the whole movie is one cycle, and then it repeats at the beginning and at the very end. It does the same thing, like the fire, the crispy heart that he pulls out, and he does it so like what is like the meaning of that? Like, the whole movie is based on a cycle.
It's interesting because I feel like imagine a circle. Like I kind of feel like I feel like you're interested in exploring the outside of that circle, whereas I'm more like I'm content with like being in the circle.
Oh, okay. And
Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. And I want to say the inside of this circle just pissed me off still.
I think that's totally fine. Like
Yeah.
I think that like I think the thing it sounds like you're doing is you're maybe more interested in like the world itself
But it does
and the rules of the world versus the story
Well,
within
but it's
the world.
still important because otherwise, why would they show it? If they didn't want you to know about it, why did they show it?
Show like what part?
The beginning was did you
Right.
notice the beginning was a different, wasn't even Jennifer Aniston's character or Jennifer Lawrence's character.
Right. To me, I see this as the creators of this movie giving an allegory of cycles of abuse, like as abuse repeating. People are for this person, the people in his life are just there to be extracted from, to use them so that they can support him and the things that he does. And once they've given everything, he is able to even take their deaths, and even their death is his motivation.
Yeah.
It's not about them. It's about like how that death affected him.
Right.
So like to me, I think I see this guy and everything in his life is about him, and the house, the place that they live, what they do, this person that works for him. And even though they go through this terrible sequence of events, he doesn't once think about her. And then once she does die, he still doesn't say, you know what, I really have extracted, I've spent my whole life thinking about me. Instead, he says, you know what, I'm actually going to take your death and talk about how it's affected me, as opposed to...
Well, I can see, I get what you're saying. And that's what I'm saying is like, he's not, as a character, he's not designed to think about anything else but himself, because he's like the main guy. Like, he's the author, right? He's the author of the story, which I still think that's what this is about. Like, I still think that
Could be.
because like he doesn't really care about the characters in his story. He doesn't care about his wife in this segment or other segments, because this is him, writing a story of sorts. I don't really know. Again, I can't really say specifically if he's like writing this as it goes, or he's manipulating it somehow to him always ending up being a favorable person.
Maybe.
He's very egocentric. He's very
for
selfish,
for sure.
And it becomes abusive emotionally. It does. There is like an element of like other types of abuses that I am not willing to discuss right now. But Yeah, I think it's, to me, it's just like whatever he wants, he gets. And from what I see as knowing who he is, like I like to zoom out. That's what I'm saying. I like to zoom out and like understand why. Well, he's doing that because all he cares about is his fame and glory because
Yeah,
he's is
100%.
or once was an author of he was a famous author. And there are some rules like she can't leave this house because
Well, we don't even know that. She just doesn't.
I
But we
mean,
don't know if she can leave the house.
but the idea, but like look at around the house, like it's just a house in the middle of the
Yeah.
there's no path.
Nope.
So to me, like we see it from her side because again, this is we're following her character. So like you don't see much else. Like this is, and then this part is specifically, she walks outside and she's like, I can't see. I saw them walk out of the door to take this guy to the hospital.
Yeah.
And
they're
now
nowhere
he's
to be
gone
seen. Yeah.
because that wasn't written. It wasn't written for her to see. I think, but again,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think that there, like, at least for me, I don't think there's evidence that this man is authoring this story. Like, I think that that's not my perspective. I think that he is an author. I think that his works are important and crucial to the story, but I don't think that I don't think they are the story itself.
well, so tell me this is the literal part. Well, tell me why doesn't he die when he's lit on fire?
I mean, to me, I think that you could see this as some sort of limbo or hell. Like I could see this being. There are a number of things in this movie that strike me as pretty biblical. Like, do you feel like do you get any like Cain and Abel vibes from the two boys that kill each other, or one that murdered the other?
I could see you could make that claim. Sure, I mean,
I kind of get some of that vibe of when I see these two younger boys fight, one kills the other, and like, is it one for one? No, of course not. Like, I think that I see aspects of that, but why does he not die? I mean, I could see this being a limbo for the man, where it's like, hey, you're stuck in this loop until you can recognize that, like, you're here because of your own actions. You're here because of the things that you are not willing to accept about yourself, which is that you are greedy, you are incredibly abusive, you are manipulative.
yeah.
Now, like, that is at least my current interpretation. It's maybe not the right one. Maybe the director would be like, no, that's not even close. But like, I think that movies like this, the part of it is I think you have to like movies like this where they do allow for interpretation. Some people don't. Some people find that frustrating.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that, and I think that you could go to the question as even still like maybe this is like jumping ahead to a different topic, sort of, but like, can you be entertained by a movie like this? I'm not saying you can't. Like, people can like it, like you said, you loved it.
Yeah.
I sometimes I can find the joy in a movie like this, or movies like this, but this one, I mean, the first act was fine. It is almost like so annoyingly frustrating. Like, that's a good word. It's annoying. This movie just annoyed me with like the presence of all the guests and this, the fact, because like I am much like her, and I'm sure everybody would. I mean, everybody has probably been in this person's shoes before, but like it feels too real to be entertaining.
Okay, so let me stop you right there, because that is very interesting to me, because to me, that is the crux of a good horror movie. It was uncomfortable for you and not entertaining.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I think, I'm not saying I wasn't entertained, like, to some degree. Like, I like that a movie can make me feel a certain way, if that's what you mean, like, being entertained. Sure, like, I can say, like, that's understandable, that's, like, palpable, I get it, like, but also, like, I'm not going to sit here and glorify this movie when I thought most of it was, it just lacks, I don't know, It just
let me ask you.
I'm not gonna say lacks in it, but like it just doesn't pay off. It just feels like it wasn't worth my time.
I'm gonna ask a very honest question. Was the content of this movie so disturbing that it put a distaste in your mouth about it?
if you want an answer, I would say yes.
Okay, because
But it's not just that. I don't want to say like that was the end because
but
like
I asked that because I think I think
it's like digging for. It's like this is how I interpret. It's like digging. It's like the excitement of digging for a treasure. You're digging. We found an X. We found this map. It's got an X, and then you open that, and the treasure is just a pile of shit. That's what it is. That's what it felt like. So, like, was it entertaining to dig for the treasure? Well, yeah, it was fun, but like at the end, it just wasn't worth it. That's the best way I can put it.
so. What about it for you wasn't worth it?
Just again, like to me, it just I don't know if I can articulate it.
The reason why I asked this is because like I think of movies. There are two movies that come to mind where, as you watch it, like they're both very acclaimed movies, recent movies that are horror movies that have no happy ending. They are they are continuously deplorable. And I think of The Witch and I think of Hereditary. And do you have the same annoyance? And if you do, don't, why?
I mean, I don't know if I can articulate it in a concise way that I could fit into this kind of ending here, but I like those movies. Those were entertaining. I was entertained, but I feel like there was more at stake necessarily because my interpretation of this author writing a story feels very like the cycle is over. I don't care anymore. Like that the person died. Everybody dies except the author, and now he gets to start over. That's what I'm saying. It just feels like, like there wasn't really much to hold on to. But like Hereditary was like involved real people. This energy. I mean, you could agree with this, like because Hereditary spoilers. The woman, like the little girl, the sister, like gets her head decimated. And like it was a very guttural thing. Like you heard the mom scream. That's like the famous thing. Like you heard the mom scream. It felt so real, but it felt like more was at stake. And at the end, then it kind of like played into fruition. But here it just feels like, well, all the characters died anyways. So that's why. To me,
yeah, I mean,
that's just how I feel. I mean, I can't change how you feel, but
no, I guess
and that's not even the best way to say, but like that's one little element of why that I feel like that.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask is like the reason why I'm kind of prodding is because I guess like for me in terms of like I don't know. Finalism, like I see a lot of similarities in Hereditary in that you could paint it in sort of those broad strokes. Everybody dies, everything terrible happens, everybody's hosed, everybody's screwed. Like I guess what I'm interested in is like what for you, and again, I want to be clear, like I am not convincing you to like this movie. You don't like this movie, that's totally fine.
No, sure.
I'm more interested in like in painted broadly, Hereditary feels very similar. So what about is there something more specific to this movie that you feel like is maybe more is it that it's too abstract, it's unapproachable?
I just feel like I think it feels like a collective. It just feels I don't even know how to explain it. It feels the pacing feels very strange. It kind of starts there, and I'll tell you like. You kind of get this idea of like this woman who loves her husband, but then you just kind of get pissed off at him because he's like continuing to ignore her. But then like as time goes on, it's like almost like again, it's like legit abuse, like emotional abuse on her. And it's
totally,
it's uncomfortable. It feels unfair. It feels like, it just feels very frustrating to see that from a character who can't be listened to, that just no one wants to listen to.
Is it like, does it feel almost too real that it feels like you're powerless to help and you see somebody helpless?
I can see probably that I wouldn't say that's not untrue.
Yeah.
The
reason why I asked this is because like, again, using another movie as a like similar movie, like I see a lot of like things that you see. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like like when you watch a movie and you see like somebody get bullied and you feel like angry, like you feel like, but on the one hand you're angry at the characters, but on the other hand it's like, well, the movie is like trying to evoke that.
Well, I will say, like, I'm going to just say that there are plenty of movies that have made me feel uncomfortable that I've liked. And I don't know if the opposite of entertainment is like being discomforted or being uncomfortable, because plenty of movies made me feel uncomfortable and I thought those movies were amazing, to me it is, I don't know, like, and I like to think, again, as you have kind of pointed out, like, you zoom out a little bit, you kind of see what the point is, like, what am I trying to get, like, what's the world they live in, like, I want to understand the world that they have created, because obviously it's shown to you for a reason. And I don't know, I feel like it just feels so futile anyways. Like, why put a character through so much abuse
for them to not have a payout?
Yeah, for them to just die.
Yeah.
And like, whoa, I can start over. And then you're like, well, damn, then this next female protagonist will probably suffer this very similar experience. Like,
yeah,
is he waiting for a proper female to like not flip out, or like a proper female to be like, yes, honey, no matter what you do? Like, to me, it's just like, I don't really get, Do
you feel like some of this angst that you have is like seeing that the bad guy has won?
Not even. I'm trying to think, what's a good movie that like where like I don't know. We've seen like a fair share of movies that have like the bad guy wins, and I'm like, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of ones right now, but
I mean, like, you could say that
Star Wars. I mean, but
right? Yeah, you could.
That's kind of like, like, but there's 3 movies, so I don't know. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are many good examples of a movie that ends in a bad way, and I'm just like, you know what, that still was like a great ending, or that still like felt, rewarding to watch. Like, this felt just like, and I agree. I mean, I have admitted the times where like this movie makes you feel dreadful, but like, you're like, at least I was entertained, or like, at least it felt like, and it's all feelings based. Like, at least it felt like the payoff was worth it, or the story compelled me.
I think I'm tracking with what you're saying. Like for you, it is. There doesn't feel like a reward for having gone through the suffering.
Right. Yeah, like I would agree. Like, you just, at the very end of the day, I just saw some bad things, and the author or the poet is still just a big asshole.
And will continue to be.
And will continue to be an asshole, and then women will continue to suffer and be abused, and other things, like the things I will not discuss. But yeah, like, that's, I mean, if you want to like put it down to like the most simple terms, that's pretty good.
So like the reason, like, again, like, I am not looking to change your opinion about this movie. I am more interested in understanding your perspective on the movie, which it sounds like your perspective is sort of, it is really hard to find a movie that has effectively no reward, and in fact has just more and more punishment in just like this upscaling way. Like, it is just exponential punishment.
Yeah. Well, it's like you get the slow burn punishment, then you like get some like recourse, you get some like, oh, there's some like,
you sort of think
you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then all of a sudden the tunnel just like collapses.
you sort of see that, like, there's a part of you that sees, we talked about how the announcement of this child, you kind of almost have this sense of like, maybe things are going to turn around, right? When it only, in fact, it hasn't even started. Like, the suffering hasn't even begun. So no, that totally makes sense. It is hard to say that I liked this movie, because I agree, like, terrible things happen in this movie. It's the reason why I think I like this movie is because I feel like it is demonstrating something important in a way that I don't see a lot of movies doing this. A lot of times when you see movies about abuse and manipulation, you see it portrayed in pretty common ways. I think that this was a very interesting way to put it. It's very abstract. So if you have no interest in seeing anything that's going to make you think like in a way that's going to be like beyond just the movie you're watching, it might not be for you. But I really liked it because I thought the actors are great. They have a very good set of actors and actresses in this particular movie. I think that they do a very good job of making you feel incredibly stressed and incredibly uncomfortable. And they capture that in a way that I don't think a lot of horror movies do in any subject matter for that, just on that point. But I enjoyed this movie for those reasons. Now, in the way that I think it's funny because I think we're coming at this from different angles. Like, it is difficult for me to explain that I enjoyed this movie because there's not the actual like subject matter and there is no reward.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to be like.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I mean, we don't equate those things as equal. Like, just because it's. I mean, a movie could be bad. Like, it could have bad themes to
right.
it. It could.
And it is not an endorsement on
on
the material of the movie.
Oh no, but I'm just saying, like, as just an average dude, like, there are movies that have really, bad things happen in them, but like feel like they were entertaining, that there could be something learned from them. And I cannot think of a good example right now, but I'm sure there are many movies that like feel like they pay out, dividends to the suffering that you watch through. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say that it was like true, like I suffered, but it's really like, it's not, I just don't feel like I was entertained. I don't want to repeat anything.
No, I totally think that's valid.
It felt like a waste of my time.
I think the thing that I was, what movie was it that we had watched where there was like an animal attack and we were like kind of bracing ourselves and like we're like, kind of gritting our teeth. I can't remember what it was called. We watched it on within this series, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I think the thing that really impressed me about this movie is that I felt that way about dialogue. I felt that way about just the things people said. Like, just because people have been in uncomfortable social situations and you've been told things that are just completely abhorrent by people, like thoughtless things that just people would rattle off, ask if you have children, not having any second thought about if you've had a difficulty having children or anything like that. Like, things that people are saying and doing where every line of dialogue, everything that they were doing, we were just like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So anywho, this is, I mean, far and away our
biggest,
longest episode. Also I figured this would probably be a pretty divisive movie just because it had divisive reviews.
Yeah. Yeah. My take is don't watch the movie.
My take is watch it, but bring plenty of yellow powder to put in your waters.
If I only had more yellow powder, I'd probably make it through fine.
All right. Well, I'm drained.
I'm tired. I'm really tired.